Hi, how's everybody doing today? It's Jeff Noyes here from oceansideairbrush.com again. Going to be doing a tutorial series here on airbrushing, and this is going to be the first one in a series that's going to help you airbrush better. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've learned that really helped me out getting started. I'm going to try to talk a little faster because the last time I tried to make a tutorial it was an hour and 40 minutes long and I could have done it in 20 minutes. So I'm just going to try to speed along here because you can always rewind and check it out again if you want to look at something twice. I'm going to be using Badger Renegade Velocity airbrush today. This is my very favorite airbrush. Well, I don't know, I may be tied for first place along with the Raptor I'm going to show you in a minute. I really like this airbrush. It's got a 0.21 nozzle, so a little finer. It's able to do finer detail. If you're just learning, I recommend you get one that is designed to do fine detail so that you can do fine detail easier. Then you learn quicker. Then when you pick up an airbrush that has a bigger tip and isn't really designed for fine detail as much, you'll still be able to pull it off, okay? But if you get a generic one and try to do fine detail when you first start, like I did, you'll run into the same problem that I did, and that's very inconsistent work. One time you get a really, really nice thin little line, and the next time you wouldn't. So I recommend this airbrush. You can get it on our website, oceansideairbrush.com. The reason I like it is it's US made completely. Even the Iwata ones have Chinese parts in them, even though they tell you they're made in Japan, which is still overseas for me. I'm in Canada here and North America, so this is built in the US, so I believe in the US built stuff. I think it's better. I just do. It's better quality. I've tried them all. This one is very high quality. It's kind of a polished black chrome kind of a finish, really nice looking. The reason I like it is the trigger is much further back from the bowl. You can see how much space I have there between the bowl and my finger. A lot of other airbrushes are really uptight and you're touching the bowl sometimes if you have big fingers. It has a perfect balance. It sits just really nice in your hands, perfect weight. It does have the trigger stop at the back. It's fine adjustable right here. Very nice. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it has I didn't clean the tip very good. There's some red paint on it there. You can see. I should have got that off before I did the video, but maybe the red paint will help it show up. I'll try to get it to focus here. You'll see I have a double tip guard. Okay, that comes stock on the Velocity. And it protects the needle, but it acts like, you know, if you're new, maybe you don't know, but here I'll show you. This is my second favorite, or maybe tied for first, the Raptor. This is our special designed airbrush that you can get on our website. I'm going to talk more about this in another tutorial because this thing is a beast, and it's a whole tutorial on its own. Everything I hated about other airbrushes has been eliminated from this airbrush. Okay, so this thing is like magic, but we'll get into that another time. But what I wanted to talk about is the tip pieces. Like normally you have a round tip guard like this, and you unscrew it when you're doing really fine detail, and you come in and then you've got a bare needle. See if I can get it to focus. So there's the bare needle. It doesn't want to focus on just the needle. Maybe if I, oh, there it goes. Okay. So there you can see just the needle. If I pull the trigger, the needle goes in, needle comes back out. Okay, so it's very, very good for doing detail this way, but you can bend the tip really, really easy if you touch anything. Your sweater, the table, your work, anything. So I always put my tip guard back on when I'm not using it or when I'm not doing detail. Okay, so that's the Raptor, which is my specially designed airbrush you can only get on our website. And for an inexpensive airbrush, I dare you to put this up against any of the highest quality Iwata or even the Badger airbrushes and tell me it's not as good, if not better. I dare you. Okay, this is an inexpensive airbrush that I'm making available to the public. I call it the Raptor. Get on our website, oceansideairbrush.com. But I'm going to be using the Velocity today because it has the 0.2 tip, 0.21 tip, and also like the Raptor. Actually, the Raptor doesn't have a 0.21 tip. It has a custom tip, but they share the same slope. A lot of people don't talk about slope. That is the angle of the needle point, and that matters a lot. Okay, so I find that's why I like the Badger airbrushes. They're a 6-degree grade needle, a lot lower grade, you know, a longer, pointier needle, so you get better flow and a lot of other things. You do have to lube up the trigger more on this one, I notice, but I lube them every time I use them, so it doesn't really matter to me. I lube them before and after. So, gonna use the Badger Renegade Velocity today, my favorite airbrush from Badger. And the reason I'm using that is because I figure you guys will probably be using the same thing. If you go to our website and get an airbrush to get started, you're going to find that I don't stock anything that I haven't used or like myself. So, you'll find the Badger airbrush, you'll find the Raptor airbrush. You're not going to find a whole bunch of other stuff that's just crap. Okay, I'm going to run this airbrush today at 25, well, maybe just get it up a little bit more just so I don't deal with tip clog. I have found that the Badger airbrushes require about 5 psi more than any other airbrush to do the same job. So if you're using the Raptor or an Iwata and you're running at doing fine detail at 15 psi, you need to run this closer to 20. If you're doing it, you know, 25 psi or 30 psi, you need to run this at 30 or 35. Okay, but it just needs a little more air, and I think it has to do with that slope, and it works better. Okay, so just turn your air up just a little bit for the Badger airbrushes and they'll work awesome. Okay, and you get a lot less tip dry and tip clog problems with these too, because they just flow better. Now today we're going to be using Wicked paint. Going to use detail black. Yes, it matters. Use the detail black. Why? Because the standard black is 5 microns. The Wicked detail black is 2 microns. Less than half the size of the microns in the paint structure. So it comes out of, in other words, it's smaller and comes out of the tip easier. Today I'm going to be using the Wicked Createx High Performance Reducer number 4012. I think that's the same as the W500 if you were buying just the plain Wicked. This is the same. It's just a different label. But you can get all this stuff on our website. We carry the Wicked paint. Okay? So, I don't know if you've ever seen internal mixing before, but that's when you cover the tip guard and you bubble your paint a little bit to mix it in the bowl. I'm going to do that, but with this Velocity, it's got the double tip guard, so you have to pinch it instead of just put your finger across it. I'll show you here in a sec. Shake your paint really good. I'm going to use about 50-50 here of reducer to paint. You know, you can go a little further with the reducer, maybe like 60% reducer. Don't do this near your artwork, and don't do it near your camera. But I'm going to break my own rule and do it near the camera so I can show you here. But on the Velocity, you just pinch it like that, and then you press the button, start pulling the back the trigger slowly. Don't go full throttle right away. Okay, oh, I'm not pinching it good enough. I like to pinch it this way, actually, upside down. A little bit of pinch on it. When you hear it bubbling like that, that's good enough. Don't go any further with the trigger, because if you pull it back all the way, it's going to spray up in the air. And you shouldn't do it with the lid on, or if you do, just set the lid there very gently. Don't push it down all the way, because there's not enough air going through the little hole in the middle, and it doesn't. It can pop the lid off sometimes. And I've never had that happen with the Badger ones because they fit pretty tight, but I know the Iwata one I had that I used to use popped off all the time when I do that. It pissed me off. It get paint everywhere. Don't do it in your artwork, especially if you put hours into your artwork and then you just go spray it with a bunch of splatter. That's not good. Okay, I'm just using my test page, which is down below. You can't see it. I'll lift it up so you can see. I'm just checking my airbrush is working, just putting some bigger dots, and then I'm going to go in and do some smaller dots. Make sure your flow is good. I think my air pressure could be a little lower if I wanted to do super fine detail, but since it's on camera, I'm actually going to do everything just a little bit bigger, because when you do super fine detail, you can't really see much. Alright, so I'm good to go. I got the liquid paint mixed up, and I'm going to put the lid on now because I have a tendency to be messy and spill stuff everywhere. These Badger ones fit really tight. You can turn this thing pretty much upside down. Going to give it one more quiet little bubble just to make sure my paint's mixed. Okay? Now this is the thing that helped me learn how to paint quicker than anything. Okay? And that is to make yourself a grid out of dots and try to make it as straight as possible. That's one thing to practice. It is a skill that will actually make you better. Once you get a grid, you're going to start making lines and making 3D, like kind of like blocks and stuff. I'll show you how to do it right now. The other thing, I've learned a few other things that really help me out that most other people don't tell you. You should learn to paint with one hand. Just treat this thing like a pen, and you'll do better faster. Okay, yes, you want to do this and support your hand and the airbrush often in certain situations, but when you're first learning, you really need to get control of the airbrush. So the first thing you should do is start to just treat it like a pen and do, and just, you know, make it more casual. Also, don't get in so close with your face. I've found that if you get way back and sit back or stand back, you're gonna get a better perception. Okay. The other thing too is when you're moving, I'm sure you've heard this before, is move your whole body. Don't even move your shoulders or your elbows or your arms. Like, pretend you're a robot, like you're some sort of printer, like knee and then down, knee and then down, and then knee. You're just like, you're a robot, okay? Everything you do, down and up, same thing. Move your whole body down and up. Don't even move your arms down and up. Don't move your wrists at all. Don't turn. Don't do anything. If you're doing it down and up or side to side straight lines, support your airbrush. This is the best I've found for me, is I'm holding the airbrush like this, is if I put one finger right under the front of the airbrush and I just hold it like a two-finger thing like that, and I let my other fingers, these ones, kind of wrap around my hand just a little bit over here. So kind of like that, like a two-finger, and then I just let my other bottom fingers just touch my hand like that. And then when I'm getting in really close, I'll do it on an angle so you can see here. When you get in really close to the page, you can use that finger, that second finger down here, the middle one, as a support. So you can get in really steady to do a little dot and a little dot, and you just move like that. And then if you need to do a little tiny little line, you can just elevate or lower the airbrush this way with your fingers on the, see how I got my fingers on the page, these two, but I'm lifting, and you know, I do that a lot when I'm painting. If I'm just doing a super micro little line, I'll just do it like that. If I'm just doing a micro dagger stroke that needs to be really straight or something, and if you're moving all the way down the page straight, you want to not touch the page and just kind of drop your whole body or move up. Okay, and over, down, and over. And that's what we're going to be practicing here. That's the skill you need to really get. Also remember, sit back. Don't be so close with your face. Paint with one hand when you can. I'm going to paint with two hands to do this because, like I said, when you're doing something trying to get it really, really straight. If I was doing an arc, I'd just paint it with one hand. Try to paint with one hand. It doesn't matter how sloppy you are. We're just working on practice paper here, and we're trying to get good at our skills. We're not trying to paint a portrait here. So I'm going to go ahead and paint some dots. Okay, so air on. You come in and blast off a little dot and another dot. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. Okay, usually I would go this way actually. I'll go this way for the camera's benefit. Oops, that's a bit too big. Try to make them even though, okay? If you're doing an inch apart, try to keep them all an inch apart. Give your little airbrush a spray out if it's not giving you good paint. There we go, now I got good paint flow. Okay, so I'm just trying to do these approximately an inch apart. I'm dragging my finger, I just noticed that I do that sometimes without even noticing, just to steady it up a bit. So, but really, you gotta practice with one hand. So what I like to do is get the first row. Okay, so you get a row of dots like that, okay? Try to make them all the same size. Okay, so when you go to do the second row, turn on your air and try to do the second row dots right underneath the other dots and the same distance downward as they are apart. So if they're an inch apart, this should be an inch down. And we're trying to make a perfect row here, but we're going to do this one with one hand. I'm left-handed. You guys can do it with whatever hand you are, right-handed, left-handed. But once you have your first row, you can use your hand like this to guide on the page, okay? And get that top row as straight as possible. But we're still trying to do it freehand. We're not using any rulers or tape or masking, okay? So you dot everywhere underneath each dot, and you're going to do this one-handed. Try to make them all uniform in size. Okay, and also I like to, no matter how good your airbrush is, sometimes after you've done that, or sometimes after you've had a little sticky problem and you blast it full throttle 3 times at your test page just to get it spraying again, don't go immediately to your artwork and press the air trigger. Quite often there'll be a little dot of paint on the tip of the needle or something, and if it splatters, it'll do a spackle spray all over your entire artwork. And if you spent a day or two on it, you're gonna want to freak out. I've done that. In fact, I just did it last week. I had a problem with one of my airbrushes and it backfired up and sprayed so far that even though I was away from my artwork, it still got on it. It was not a happy day for me. So spray it like that, but don't put the air right directly on your page yet, especially if it's artwork you've been working on. Spray off the page with the air first and then pull it onto the page. Okay, now I've got nothing, no paint, no splatters, I'm clean, and now I feel safe taking my finger on and off the button, knowing that nothing's going to spray on my artwork. Okay, but don't trust it that first pull after you've done something to clean the tip or adjusted it or anything. Don't trust that first air trigger is going to, even without pulling back for paint, if you just go down, it can go splat. Okay, so don't do that. So one-handed again. This time I'm going to go the other way. Okay, and try to keep them all uniform in size and distance and shape, which my first couple were not. But you know, that's what I do this. I practice this. This is awesome practice. Okay, so you're going to fire off rows. Oops, that one was low, wasn't it? I'll just make it bigger. And then you're going to go back the other way. Do this one-handed, folks. You would not believe how much practicing doing dots and lines with one hand is going to improve your airbrushing skills. Big time. Okay? Because then you're going to learn actually how to airbrush with one hand, and then you're just going to use your other hand to steady your work. and you're gonna get better faster. I've never seen anybody else suggest that technique. Oops, totally screwed that one. I'm not great at talking and airbrushing apparently. But I've never had anybody tell me to do this one-handed or seen another tutorial or anything, so I thought I'd make one because I figured this out on my own. I just started airbrushing with one hand and treating it more like a pen or a marker, and that's when I started getting good at airbrushing. Okay, I got way more steady and way more confident in my strokes. Sketchbook it's called. Oh, this is the 30 sheets one. We have there's 30, 60, and 100 or something, or 30, 60, and 90, something like that. But you can get those on our website. Okay, so I'm just cleaning out my airbrush, give it a couple sprays. Now, here's the fun part, okay? What you want to do is start connecting the dots and building blocks, okay? Now again, I'm gonna use that technique where I support the airbrush a bit, but I'm gonna go down first, and then over, and then up, and over, and make a rectangle out of these dots, okay? But I'm not gonna do the top row. I'll show you why once I do this, okay? So I'm gonna start here in the middle, and I'm gonna go get my flow, go down, okay? And then I'm gonna go over, and then I'm gonna go up robotically. Oops, I said I wasn't gonna go up that far. And then I'm going to go over. Okay, I'm going to darken that up though because I don't think you can see that on camera. Okay, it's not very straight. I always find when I first get out my airbrush for the day I'm not very straight, and that's why I'm practicing to get warmed up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this look kind of like a 3D building or block or something. So the dots, you just take it from this corner and go diagonal to that dot, okay? And just support your airbrush bit, and the same thing at the top. And then the same thing on this corner. Okay, and then you want to connect these two. Go straight up or straight down, your choice. But you gotta practice both, so do both. Maybe I'll go down this time and double it up. So, oops. My dots aren't very straight, so that's not helping. Okay, so you get yourself another line there. Okay, and then you can connect the little back. See, I just did it. That's a good example. Remember I said don't turn your air on right away after you cleaned your airbrush out? Move this right in here so you can see it. Where is it now? Right at the top there. You see that splatter? Right there? At the top of my messy airbrush? That's what happens sometimes. So don't do that. If that was artwork, I'd be mad right now because I'd have wrecked something. So spray off and then come back, and then once your airbrush has been cleaned, it's good. Okay, so then you connect that line, and once you've done that, what you want to do is you want to connect these little lines, and you want to go back and forth. Okay, you want to do it like this: air on, connect the dots, down, connect the dots this way, down. Connect the dots this way, down. Try to turn the air on the dot, or try to turn the paint on the dot and turn it off on the other dot. That's the trick. See, I went too far here. Okay, so that's the skill you got to master, is turning the airbrush on at a specific spot. Okay, air is always on, but I mean the paint. You got to hit the dot directly and go directly to the other dot. The other thing is you want to move at the right time and the right speed. If you go too late, you'll get a big, here I'll just show you. You'll get a big dot like that at the beginning. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but see it's kind of big on this, you know, it made the dot kind of dark there. You don't want a big splurgy, blobby dot and then a line. You want an even line. So try to, as soon as the paint is flowing out of the tip, move. And then make sure you let go of the trigger at the right time. Okay, now to make it 3D, we're going to connect each one of these lines to the angled dot above it on the side, and that'll give it a 3D look right away. Okay, try to connect them straight and just fire them off. Oops, that one wasn't straight. my hose is getting caught on my chair here, and if your hose gets caught on something, that's no good. I'm going to darken up this line. Okay, you got to move fast. You're going to figure out that the faster you move, the straighter you go. See how much straighter I made that line? It's because I moved quickly. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade this side a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to shade it more toward this side of the post than the other side. So what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to pull back a little bit, distance wise from the page, and I'm just going to pull the paint on just a little and just dust it on that side, on each of the bricks. Okay, just give it a little 3D look, because what it'll do is it'll cause the effect of, you know, see, it already looks more 3D. I'm just looking in the camera thing, trying to see how it looks on camera. I'll darken it up a little bit here. Everything on camera looks a little bit lighter, and so I gotta do it a little darker than what I'm seeing. I'm gonna shade the top a bit here. Now you want to keep your light source in mind. That's going to make all your artwork look better if all your shadows fall on the same side, and you know, give it that more 3D look if you put your highlights in the right place and your shadows in the right place. That's something else you really want to concentrate on. I'm going to blast out my airbrush just a bit. I'm going to blow off the page, bring my air on the page, save myself any of those little splatter problems. Okay? So I'm just going to shade in the top. I'm going to still use one hand here. And since my light source is over here, obviously, because this side of the 3D thing I'm making is dark, so the light is coming from the front, possibly from the front left here. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to put the shadow a little bit more on that side, keeping it uniform with that idea that this side would be brighter if the light source was coming across it like that. Okay? And now what you want to do is start making X's. Okay, so now we want to X these boxes, and we want to do it with two hands, but steady and quick. Okay? And you have to go from corner to corner, turning the air on, or turning the paint on at just the right time. Oh, totally screwed that one up. That's why I'm practicing. But you got to turn the paint on the dot and jet right across. Don't waste any time. Just motor. The faster you go, the better you get. Okay? Whoa! Had a little clog in my airbrush and didn't clean it. Now I made a big line there. That's okay. Spray it out. Go to the side. Okay. So now I'm going to do the side ones, and again, if you connect the corners, it should give it a nice 3D look. I'm going to do these ones in a little closer. Oops. So that they're nice and fine. This nice point to tip on this Badger airbrush is just awesome. I can go right in and almost touch the page, and if I turn the air pressure down a little bit, I can do like hairlines with this thing. Not that you can't do hairlines with the Raptor as well. The Raptor's pretty awesome. In fact, I'm really not sure which one I like better, because I get into this one and I start using it and go, wow, this is a great airbrush. And then I'll start using the Raptor and getting really into a piece with it and go, wow, this is a really great airbrush. So I don't know. I think maybe the Raptor is better for beginners and professionals, I should say, because what we've done with it, I'll just give you a little secret about it, is that the button, as you go down and up, as you press it in, controls the air pressure a lot more. Most airbrushes don't have that. If you press it down, there's on or off. Even if I try to press it really gently, I can get it to go a little softer, but not much. There's either on or off. With this Raptor airbrush, you can press very gently and get only a couple of pounds of air and pull back and do a super fine line. and then you can press full throttle and yank it back and get a huge wide 5-inch spread. This is the most, this one won't do a wide spread. This thing will do like 2 inches tops. It's very narrow. This thing can do super wide for spraying helmets and big areas, and it can do super fine as well. In fact, I would put these two head to head, and I'm not sure which one would win. I haven't done that contest yet, but maybe we'll do that in another video. But every time I think I can get the finest lines with my velocity here, I go ahead and start doing some detail work with the Raptor and going, wow, that line is as perfect and tight and thin and small as the velocity. Some people swear by the Micron Iwata. It has the air control on it. With the Raptor, you don't need an air control. Why turn a little dial when you can do it all with your finger? Okay, so now you have controllable variable air supply right at your fingertip. Why have a dial? This one, I have a controller on my air compressor right over here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll point to it with my finger right there on the air compressor. I have a dial. I can turn the airbrush down. By the way, when you're setting your air pressure, set it with the trigger full throttle, then turn the dial on your air compressor and set the air pressure. Don't set it when it's off, because when you press the button it drops 5 pounds or whatever because of the flow, cubic feet per minute. So yeah, check your air pressure when it's trigger on. The velocity should be running at about 25 to 30 pounds with the trigger on. Okay, 25 is good. You can dip it down to 20 for detail. With the Raptor, you can go less. You can go 15 pounds for detail and 20, 25 if you want to spray wide. But again, I just leave it at 20 or 25 and use the button on the Raptor to control. I can go all the way down to a hairline with it still at 25 without touching the air compressor. This one I have to touch the air compressor, but only when I do detail. Okay, so this isn't that detailed because I'm not doing it that close. Okay, and you can do one across the top too. Next. Get your airbrush flowing, spray off the page with your air. Make sure your brush is working before you go to use it. Okay? Now, this is the sloppiest one I've ever done because I'm talking at the same time. But I made this 3D tower, okay? So now what you do is you make another one. Cross. Up. Remember, go fast, and also try to fix that line that I screwed up there. Also, look ahead of where you're going. Don't look at it. Like when you're spraying here and you're going to go up, you should be looking like 2 or 3 dots ahead of yourself, and you'll do a better line. Unlike what I did on this side that I had to fix. Okay? This one was nice and straight. Straighter than my dots were. Okay, so now I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make the same shape. I'm going to make that same 3D. Try to make it straighter. Oops, I went too far with this one. Darn it. Okay, because this one's supposed to go from there into there. That was supposed to be the top. So I guess we're just practicing here, so I'll just fill it in. You know, I know it looks really screwy now, but this is all just for practicing your lines and dots. Not really about creating an awesome piece of, you know, sellable, marketable, showable artwork here. We're not doing that. We're just practicing our stuff here, and we're trying to go fast. Okay, go really fast. Go with one hand. Oops. See, I screwed one up, but you know, I screwed an overline that one. But we're not practicing being perfectionist here. We're practicing one-handed skills, and we're practicing moving quickly. Alright, and a little bit of shading. That was horrible. That was just awful. Then I'll shade this side in. And I'll make this line darker. Okay, good enough. Alright, so now I got two towers. This one's crooked. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or something. Fix it. Straighten it up just a little bit. Just make everything darker on it. Okay, there we go. Now I got a slightly straighter crooked tower. Alright, so now I'm going to connect the two towers like this. And then I'm going to do the line from there to there, and from there to there. Okay, and make a little platform at the top. So see what I'm doing here is I'm just starting to make 3D stuff. I'm just like making a building of some sort. Okay, and you can use your other hand if you want, but again, we're still trying to work on that one-handed thing. So now I'm just going to build a box off to the side here. One-handed. Make it 3D. Oops. Don't worry about your screw-ups. We're just trying to get better. I'm going to put a support beam. I'm going to connect these 4 dots. See, once you have the grid, it's like Tetris. You can kind of just make shapes and everything fits. Okay, so see, now I got this thing here, and I could make it go X, X, X. Okay, not very straight, but getting better. Now, if it was 3D, there would be another pole back in behind there, so I'm just going to paint that, but you wouldn't see the whole thing, you'd just see just the corner of it behind here, right? So I'm just going to paint a line, a random line through there. So it'll just give it a little more 3D effect, because it looks like the back post back here is supporting the up into this corner. In fact, I could carry it in behind slightly there. Okay, so it gives it a little more 3D look. Keep that 3D look going. Okay, I know it's not very straight, but I'm trying to do my one-handed practice. Okay, let's straighten that up a little bit. Man, this thing can do so fine that when I get in really close and don't pull much paint, I don't even think you can see the line on the camera. So I'm trying to do fat lines today, so you can see what I'm doing. My easel's kind of not fixed here either because I wanted to be able to move it around for the camera. Okay, so this is what you're practicing. Now, another great thing to practice with your dots, I'm just going to make one more row of dots here real quick. Okay. I know, my dots are getting a little off from the originals, so I'm just going to make kind of a new grid down here. I only need 2 rows to do this practice. Okay, that's enough. Alright, so when you got some rows of dots still, what you want to do now is practice S's, so they're curved, but you want to go this way and touch each dot on the way up and down, okay? And make sure that it curves nice. You don't want it to go jagged like this. Okay, you want it to go smooth like a sine wave, like S, like waves, okay? And they have to go up to the dot, down to the dot, up to the dot. And when you get to the other end, you do the opposite direction and you do the opposite dots. Okay, it's more difficult than it looks, and I screwed up all the time. Again, we're going to do it one-handed. Starting at the top dot, go down, up, keeping it the same distance off the page. Okay, you can see how crooked mine is and how jumpy it is. Believe me, when you do this a whole bunch of times in a row, you get better. Okay, and then you do, oh, I was going to go the other way, sorry. So you're going to go this way now and do the opposite dots. Oops, what happened there? Totally crashed and burned there. Okay. Now, that looks pretty crooked, right? But once you got it, you can do it again, quicker, because you can see the line. Okay, and see it's already smoother. And then you can do it quicker back the other way. For me, this one's more difficult, because while I'm showing the camera angle and going backwards like this, I can't see behind my airbrush. That way is good, so it's difficult for me. And then I'm going to go forwards again, and I'm going to go quick, and see I'm smoothing out. and then I'm going to get back. This is awesome practice. I'm not as good at the back, obviously, because I can't see where I'm going. When you can see where you're going ahead of where you're going, that's when you're going to do better. Okay, but you're trying to smooth it out. This is awesome practice. Okay, I'm going to do the... Let's do one more row. Make my dots a little bit bigger this time so you can see them. I don't know if that's right or not. Okay. See, I'm smoothing it. I'm getting a little smoother. I'm trying to make fat lines. I think I made too many dots on one row here because they're not lining up. Darn it. Okay, but you get the idea. I'll just go back to my other one here. You want to really go fast and work on your one-handed waves between dots. So you come up, touch a dot, down, touch a dot, up. So you're skipping every other dot on the rows, and then you do the other way on the way back, okay? And those are the best things to practice right there. I guarantee you, if you have a airbrush, by the way, you should do this a lot finer than what I'm doing here, okay? Do it in much tighter, okay, like really small. Okay, I don't know, can you see? Oh, you can see that on the page. Alright, so you can see the semi-fine lines. Okay, so see how I did that? Alright, you don't have to be perfect. We're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to get better at using one hand. Learn with one hand. You'll learn way, way, way faster. Do the dots this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, one-handed. Make a box, a rectangle, one-handed. Do the 3D thing off to the side by just going, instead of going straight and over, you just go on the angles now, on diagonals to the next dot. Connect the line at the back, then X out everything, shade one side, make another tower, start connecting stuff. You can make all sorts of shapes and things. You just make these crazy little buildings. I just like to build these building blocks and buildings because they really they really do help. Okay, another really great thing to practice when you got your grid is doing long lines. Okay, so apart from doing the rectangles and the buildings and the little cubes and X's, you want to practice your long lines. Okay, this is where you're going to use your support. Okay, and you know, your airbrush, blow off the side. Okay, now I'm going to do some down lines. I'm just going to go down, down, down. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top and just go down. Okay, like that. Alright, see, my second one was much straighter. Okay, you're going to get better as you go. So you just practice starting at the top dot, pull the trigger, go down. Remember, you drop your whole shoulders and arms and try to look ahead of where you're going. See, I went right off that time I was talking. Okay, there you go. Now I got it straighter. Okay, so this is just practice. You're just going to go straight down. With your whole, you just kind of drop like that. Okay, you get much straighter as you go. Go fast. We're not practicing accurate, exact dot hitting here. Try to get in close so the lines are tighter. Okay, I did a couple really, really crooked ones there, like this one. Okay, so you can fix that. Alright, now you want to go up over top of them. Darken them up. Okay, just go fast. Don't worry if you hit it or not. It's not see, I totally... You know what, though? I think the problem with this one is my dots are crooked. So I'll just fix the dots a little bit there. And then I'll put 2 dots there. There we go. There we go. Now I can do a straight line there. Okay, so you want to do as straight as you can and just really go quick. Try to get a fine line. Be really close to the page. If you got a velocity, you can get really close, almost touching the page. Then you want to do the cross ones back and forth. Move your whole body. Keep your shoulders kind of uniform and move super fast. Alright? Just zip right off the edge of the page if you want. If you got a dot right next to the edge of the page like I do. Okay, and then same direction, other direction. Oops, that was really crooked. So I'll just fix it by going back this way. Remember, try to look ahead of where you're going. Oops, oops. Totally screwed up that one. I think I'm out of paint. Oh no, I got a bit. Just clogged maybe. Okay. Go across. There we go. Alright, so you're going to go this way, that way, this way, that way, this way. Just, you know, try to hit the dots. If you don't, try to do it better next time. We're just going fast. Trying to make squares. Try to make a, you know, grid. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay? I've made lots of mistakes. That's okay. Make some X's in here, in these little boxes. And then fill in one triangle. Get good at filling in triangles. Go around the outside of it. Make it dark. Fill in the middle. Go around the outside of it. Clean it up. Get in tight where you have to. Then fill in the middle. Alright, just do that. And then do that to another one. Make an X. Fill in one triangle. I'm going to do the top one this time. Get in tight to do the outline so that you're getting right into the corners. Move out a little bit, fill in the middle. Okay. To the bottom one. Fill in the triangle. Try to make it as tight as possible. You can use your guide hand for this. Try a couple one-handed. I swear to God, doing the one-handed thing helped me paint better. Not because I did this better, but just because you try so much harder to do steady work with one hand, and you get more comfortable with your airbrush. Okay, so you don't necessarily do a great job while you're practicing this, but believe it or not, you're actually improving your skill set a little bit. So when you go to paint something like a portrait or something you really want to do nice, you're going to have more hand control with one hand, and then all you need to do is steady things up with your second hand instead of depending on that hand all the time. Okay, so practice with one hand. Fill in a triangle. Get in nice and tight where you need to. Fill in the middle. Do the opposite one. This is really, really great stuff for practice. Okay, you don't have to be accurate. You don't have to get it perfect. It's not what you're trying to do. Maybe make a circle around them all now. Try to do circles. Circles are hard. Try to go the other way. Whether you're doing circles or straight lines, the trick is go fast. Don't sit still. Okay? Don't go. You'll never get straight. I don't know if you can see that because it's over top of my other black, but it's all jiggity jaggedy. Not very straight. If I go quick, I can do it. Go this way. Go quicker. See how fast you can go. Push your limits. This is all practice. It doesn't matter that I went way up here and screwed one line up, or that I went through the middle here and screwed one line up. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to get it 90% of the time perfect circles, even though this circle is more of an oval because my things are a different height. If I made this into a perfect circle, it would be taller. It'd be more like that. That's closer to a perfect circle. Alright, practice some circles. Maybe then just shade it in, make it into a globe by making it 3D looking, by darkening up the bottom. There, now it's a globe thing. Do a little shading in the middle here. Need one spot in the middle as a highlight. Try to make it darker, darker, darker. Shading. Practicing my shading. There. Now that almost looks 3D, doesn't it? It almost looks like a helmet sitting on top. See? If I put a rope down, or if I put a little thing down here, I could make it into basically like a helmet, and then a strap over here hanging down, a little clip on the end. There, now it's a bike helmet. It kind of looks like my bike helmet over there in the background, see? Look, bike helmet, 3D bike helmet. See how fast I made a 3D bike helmet? It looks like it's looking down from the top. It's got a little design on it maybe. Yeah. Put a little shape to the side here. To the side part, so that it looks more like a helmet. There. Look at that. It's a 3D helmet. Okay? So have some fun. Practice this stuff. You're going to get better by doing it, not by watching it. Okay, so get out in your shed or garage or basement or your studio, wherever you got. Start painting. Okay, do fast movements. Go up, down. Keep the air on. Just go up and down all your line dots. Go fast. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. You just pretend you're like a printer. Jing, 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 jing. Move your whole body. Don't move just your hands or arms. Okay. Zip, zip, zip. Okay. Do diagonals, angles, whatever you want. Go from corner to corner. Okay. Just whip through the stuff. Go fast though. Don't sit still. Okay. I did this line too slow. If I did it faster, I would have done it straighter. See, look at that. I bet you that's ruler perfect. Well, not down here. I can see the little bend here, but it's pretty straight, and it's pretty long too. That's over 1.5 feet, so that's pretty long for a straight line. You know, if you have to get really straight, there's other things you can do. You could use the edge of a piece of paper and fade it. There's lots of tricks you can do, but this is practicing one-hand skill and only assisting when you need to, like when you're doing long straight lines like this. Even practice those one-handed though. See, I'm not that much worse. Ooh, that one was bad, but I'm not that much worse with one hand. Okay, back and forth with one hand. Oh. I mean, I'm making mistakes, but not crazy. You know, look at that one. I did it right on the other line with one hand. So practice your one-hand skills and you'll get better faster. And then when you go to use two hands and steady yourself on the page for the really, really fine stuff, like if I was going to make some sort of a, I don't know, connector thing here, I might hold my fingers on the page and steady my airbrush like this and elevate it. So I could do a nice, perfect little square. And maybe I'd get in there really fine. Probably can't even see this on the camera. I'm just doing some little baby lines. Fine detail, making it look like a clip kind of thing. And a little couple of little hook things hanging down here. See, okay, so I get in there really tight and use the support then, but do a lot with one hand. Okay, you're gonna do a lot better, a lot faster. One-handed, move fast, reduce your paint at least 50%, maybe 60%. So it's 60% reducer, 40% paint. Get a sketch pad, just flip the page over, do it again. Okay? Just keep going and go fast. Go for an hour a day, making the X's. Like, okay, see how crooked they are? You go back over them and fix them. Okay? And you get straighter and faster. Go fast. We're not trying to create art here. We're trying to get better at one-handed, fast painting. Okay? Then when you need to be more steady and perfect, then you can come in with your other hand and really, you know, really straighten up lines. You can really do them straight. Okay, you see how straight that one is? I bet you if I got a ruler out and checked that, that's dead on. Okay, my dots not so much. But you'll also notice that when I first started, I wasn't going as straight. So, you know, even me, I have to practice this. I do this. I want you guys to practice this for 1 hour every single day for 7 days. I guarantee you, if you come back and watch my next tutorial after 7 days of doing this for 1 hour a day, no pain, no gain. You have to get out and paint. Don't watch too many videos. Get out and paint, paint, paint. An hour a day. I'm also a guitar teacher, so I tell my guitar students the same thing. You will not get better at your instrument, guitar or airbrushing, without practicing. And you have to put in an hour a day of this, not art. Do not paint pictures. Do not paint portraits. Do not try to instantly be good at something. Baby steps. Do this. This helped me paint so much better. Okay, I've done some really great murals and stuff that I've impressed myself by working on this. And I do this. I'm still doing this all the time. I'm doing it right now for you guys. But I try to do this every single day. Before I paint anything awesome, I whip out one of these pages and I can do this in a couple of minutes. I bang this off as a warm-up, kind of like an athlete does stretches or, you know, practices before you get out there and practice your guitar backstage before you go on the main show, on the main stage and do your show. So don't go right to artwork when you're first learning. Especially do not try to do portraits and murals and try to get good at that. Try to do this and get in this every day for an hour. I guarantee you in 1 week or 2 weeks you'll be flying through this stuff, and then when you go to paint something you're going to be way better at it. Okay? By the way, you can get all this stuff, the Renegade Velocity by Badger. Where does it say? Made in USA. All US parts. Okay, no Chinese, no junk. This is good. This is a good quality machine. Okay, this is built to do fine detail. So you'll be able to do fine detail much sooner and faster and better with this. Okay, it's got the awesome tip on it. The Raptor, much the same. Can do super fine detail, but can do a wider band as well. Also has variable air control built into the trigger. And I'm hoping that some professionals out there are going to try out my airbrushes and start thinking that they're pretty darn good. Okay, and they're inexpensive too. It's less expensive than the Velocity. Not built in the US, but I think it is an awesome airbrush because I've designed it myself, and everything you don't like about a standard airbrush when you take it out of the box, this one's ready to go out of the box. It's loaded with the softer springs, super soft. Variable air control, no need for dials. It has the trigger stop at the back. Really nice big bowl. Good angle on it. Tight fitting, nice chrome plated lid and everything. It's a great brush, but I like this one too, and I use this one for the demo today because there's probably more people out there that have the Badger airbrushes than mine. But also I'm sure there's a lot of Iwata users out there too. You know, it's a matter of preference. If you love your Iwata, use it. But I just like the Badgers a little better, and they're made in the US, so I like to support US companies that are building quality products with beautiful black chrome finish like that. This thing's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Even the needle in this thing comes polished. Okay, you don't have to polish it like some of the Iwata ones. You gotta kind of polish them to get them to flow nice. This one's factory polished. Best of everything. I did find the springs a little tight in this one when I got it. I had to modify the springs a little bit, and I show that in another video. And also we're offering new springs now, so you can order a new spring when you order one of these, so you can have the softer spring. The Raptor comes with the soft spring, super sensitive control, and it's got the air control in the valve, so pretty awesome. But you can buy all this stuff on our website, including the paint. I used Wicked Paint today. If you're going to do small detail stuff, make sure you get the detail black, which is number 0051. Okay, it is different than the standard opaque black. They're both good products, but they're for different things. Okay, This is for doing super fine detail. And you can get all that, the reducer, the Wicked reducer, the airbrushes, hoses, all of that on their website. You can even get the sketch pads and even the blue gloves. I like to wear the blue gloves because you'll notice I got paint all over my fingers now. When I'm tired and I've just had enough and I just want to walk away, I like to just walk away. I don't want to be scrubbing my nails for 2 hours just so I can go on a date or something. Okay? So I wear the blue gloves. Also, if I'm working on cars, the last thing you want is a fingerprint on your panel when you're painting. Okay, so these eliminate all fingerprints. Once you've cleaned your surface, you wear these, you never get another fingerprint. You never have to worry about that problem. Okay, so I like to wear the gloves. I also find they grip the page just nicely too, so when you touch and stuff, you don't have to worry about, you know, getting grease and fingerprints on your paper or car panel, and you don't, you get this nice grip. So like if I'm just dragging my finger a little bit on something to do something, you know, really fine, I can get just that perfect amount of friction out of these. I'll show you a little trick here before I let you go. If you ever use these gloves later, sometimes the fingers get turned inside out. Here's a little trick. You can roll it out, okay, and they're really hard to get the fingers to pop back out, okay, so that you can get your hand back into it. They're a total pain sometimes like that. Well, check this out. All you do is you bunch it up on the end of your airbrush, okay, tighten it around like that and kind of hold it, pull the trigger, just air, and like a balloon, look at that, it fills it up with air and pops all the fingers out for you. Okay, and then your gloves ready to put back on. Nice and easy. So there's a little trick you learned from me today. So I hope this stuff helps you. I want you guys to do this for an hour a day. Don't miss a single day. No matter how tired you are, don't be lazy. You know, this is fun. Okay, you're gonna find it fun once you get into it. Once your airbrush is loaded up with paint and you've got your favorite tunes on, and you're done work for the day and you've escaped the family or whatever, whoever's normally bothering you, lock yourself in your basement or your little studio like I've got here, crank on the tunes and do this, okay? Make rectangles and then X them and make them shaded and make them into towers and buildings and practice your S's up and down, okay? Do it all one-handed. Go ahead and do it one-handed, then try it again with the guide hand like this, okay? See if you do better. But really practice with one hand. I've never heard a lot of people suggest that, and I'm suggesting it to you because it really helped me out learning to practice this stuff that I showed you and learning to practice with one hand. Also remember to move quick. Don't sit still. Move fast with your lines. Super fast, okay? These things will lay down paint pretty quick if you pull the trigger, okay? So, go quick. Alright, that's about all I have to say. You can get all this stuff, the Badger Velocity, Renegade Velocity, you can get the Raptor I showed you, you can get the sketch pads, you can get the blue gloves, you can get the Wicked paint, you can get everything at the best prices on our website, oceansideairbrush.com. I'm also going to start making stencils and templates available on our website so you can download them for free and print them out on your printer and just cut them out and use them. Okay, a lot of places sell you, the plastic stencils, and I'll probably start carrying those too, from the major airbrush suppliers. But I like to make stuff available for free as much as possible. So if you start going to our website in the next week or two, you're going to find that I'm going to start adding a section for downloading stencils, okay, and they'll be totally free. You just print them on your computer, cut it out on your piece of paper, spray through it, spray on it, whatever, skulls, flames, whatever is going to be there. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff for you, but that'll be added to the website, and you can get all this stuff on our website at the best prices and lowest price shipping as well. So oceansideairbrush.com, and hope to see you in the next tutorial. Remember, do this stuff for 1 hour per day for a whole week before you watch the next tutorial, okay? 2 weeks is even better, but if you come back, watch the next tutorial after a week, I guarantee you'll see results. If you do not paint for an hour a day, you're getting worse, not better. Remember that. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.